Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at some very high ELO gameplay in the Psychic Cup featuring ALOLAN RAICHU. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, SS Thorn, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now, SS Thorn is running a team consisting of ALOLAN RAICHU lead, Galarian Rapidash save switch, and Malamar closer, and they used that team to get up to 2815 ELO, which at the time of recording is probably top 5 in the world. So without further ado, let's up into the matches and check out some extremely high ELO gameplay in the Psychic Cup featuring ALOLAN RAICHU. Hopping into the first match, picking up a pretty solid lead ALOLAN RAICHU into Victini. While Victini is able to win the 0 shield, ALOLAN RAICHU is able to win the 1s and the 2s. So we are going to see ALOLAN RAICHU shield up the first move from the Victini. Victini fires off the V-Crate, and ALOLAN RAICHU is at the back-to-back Thunder Punches, but the opponent is going to make a very nice catch as they catch that Thunder Punch onto Malamar. Malamar farming up, we're going to see 2 Volt Switches thrown, and now we have the Battle of Malamar. Opponent has a lot of energy here, and they full send the Hyper Beam. That does quite a lot of damage. Looking to overfarm with the Malamar and fire off the Foul Play just before the opponent reaches theirs. That's very nice energy management, as Foul Play will pick up the KO, and now Malamar has extra energy to threaten whatever comes in. It's going to be the Slowking looking for the Hex down, but Malamar is able to make the Foul Play, and looks like it can reach a second one as well. Malamar could have made the Foul Play, forcing the Slowking to fire off the Surf. Surf will get the KO. Back in comes ALOLAN RAICHU. ALOLAN RAICHU is just so deadly as it has the back-to-back Wild Charges. And what in this cup, outside of Claydol, wants to take Wild Charges? And we see a beautiful catch onto the Galarian Rapidash. Rapidash is now going to be answered with Victini, but Rapidash can just spam out body slams here. Victini hits very hard, but it's not the tankiest. Victini forced to give up a shield, and at this point, I mean, you can just finish the game with Raichu. I love this no shield here. V-Create is going to connect. In comes the Raichu, and Raichu is going to comfortably win CMP. Wild Charge gets the KO onto Victini, and Galarian Slowking gets KO'd by the Volt Switch. We see mirror leads in the next game, the Battle of ALOLAN RAICHU. Immediate save switch into the Galarian Rapidash. The opponent is running Thunder Shock instead of Volt Switch on the Raichu. Rapidash lightning fast with the Body Slam. Raichu is going to tank that and return fire with the Wild Charge. Wild Charge grabs the shield. We now see Galarian Slowking. Slowking really has to respect the potential high horsepower here. Rapidash farming up past it, baiting with the Body Slam and grabbing a shield from the Slowking. Slowking firing off the Surf here. Surf will do a lot to the Glassy Rapidash, so Rapidash will commit the shield, building up again to the high horsepower and again going for the bait. 2 for 2 bait shielded, yes it is. Farming up, saving the Body Slam for later, and now we see a switch into the Malamar. The opponent stayed into Wild Charge, so their switch clock is not yet up. So Slowking is going to be forced to fire off multiple Surfs here to burn the switch timer, so that way they're able to save the Slowking. Farming up with the Malamar, going for the Foul Play, and the opponent's switch clock comes up just in time as they make a nice catch onto their own Malamar. Farming up, going to fire off the Foul Play just before the opponent is able to reach theirs. This trainer is running a very high rank Malamar, so it's going to be very bulky, but of course the downside is, as we see in this situation, you're probably going to be losing every CMP tie in the mirror. Foul Play will get the KO. Rapidash did store a Body Slam and does win CMP here, so that's a potential option, but instead gonna send in the Raichu. Raichu will take a lot of damage from the Foul Play, but the thing is, the opponent's shields are down, and Wild Charge hits incredibly hard. In comes the Slowking, and the Hex is not able to KO. Wild Charge is reached. Wild Charge, massive damage, KOing the Slowking. Back in comes the opponent's Raichu, and they're gonna get knocked out with the Body Slam from the Galarian Rapidash. We see a very tough lead in the next match, ALOLAN RAICHU into Malamar. Malamar does win all even shielding situations, so if Raichu does want to win the lead, Raichu is going to have to give up a shield. The opponent is going to fire off the Foul Play, able to outpace the Raichu. Raichu over farming and going to full send the Wild Charge here. Wild Charge will come very close to KOing if it lands, which it does, and down goes Malamar. In comes Galarian Slowking. We see perfect charge move timing, throwing 2 Volt Switches and firing off the Wild Charge. Wild Charge charge, gets the shield right back. We now see the switch into Malamar, and Malamar can very comfortably no-shield whatever Slowking throws. Slowking fires off the Shadow Ball. That does a lot of neutral damage, but Slowking is definitely not going to appreciate the foul play. Foul play into the Slowking does massive damage in the back. The opponent is running double slow families as we see the Slowbro paired with the Slowking. Foul play will be shielded. Opponent looking for the farm down and gets the farm down of that Malamar. And this is a bit awkward here, as Poison Jab would absolutely shred the Galarian Rapidash, so in comes the Raichu. Raichu has a tough decision to make. Raichu letting the Surf go, sending in the Rapidash. Rapidash getting torn to shreds by the Poison Jabs. Rapidash is going to have to commit the shield here. Rapidash needs to make the high horsepower. Rapidash gets to the high horsepower, and the opponent concedes the match. Moving into the next match, sitting Alolan Raichu into Galarian Rapidash. This is a pretty decent lead for the Raichu. As you can see, these Volt Switches are tearing through the Rapidash. Rapidash has built up to the high horsepower. We see the shield, but it's just the Body Slam bait. Continuing to farm up with the Raichu. Raichu with the back-to-back Thunder Punches, and Thunder Punch will just about KO from this health range. Raichu and the Galarian Rapidash do have nearly identical bulk. Raichu able to grab both shields. I think at this point, yeah, you just let this go. Opponent goes for the Body Slam. That's not going to KO. Raichu continuing to farm. Opponent goes for the Snipe with the Mud Slap Claydol. Able to hold on to the energy, save the Raichu, and now the Raichu has a Wild Charge loaded in the back, and Malamar will be able to take care of the Claydol. Claydol farming up and firing off the charge move here. Everything they throw is neutral, so Scorching Sands will get the debuff though, farming up with the Malamar, and Malamar actually goes 5 Psycho Cuts in the move. Typically, that would be less than optimal timing, as 2 turns of a Mud Slap sneak, but the important thing is that since that charge move KO'd, that Mud Slap actually doesn't register, so it's basically like he gets an extra Psycho Cut for free without taking any extra damage. In comes the Rapidash, shields at the Body Slam. In the back, it's Bruxish, and guess who has a Wild Charge? It's Alolan Raichu, who even needs a Rapidash, and that's a good game. We see another mirror lead in the next match, Alolan Raichu versus Alolan Raichu. Same game plan as before, to save switch into that Galarian Rapidash. Rapidash farming up and firing off the Body Slam. Body Slam into the Raichu will be no shielded. Raichu continuing to farm. Going to call the Thunder Punch here. Opponent needs to Wild Charge to KO, and they went for the Thunder Punch, and they're now going to send in Slowking as they fire off the Body Slam. Body Slam, of course, not going to do a whole lot. Rapidash will get farmed down, but now Slowking is stuck going up against Malamar. Malamar can't quite make it to the foul play here, as Slowking will go for the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does quite a lot of damage. Malamar farming up and going for the foul play. Foul play will easily be enough to get rid of the Slowking here. Slowking is going to let that through. Back in comes the Raichu, but Raichu is not going to appreciate this foul play here. Raichu going to have to give up a shield or it will get KO'd. They commit the shield. They're firing off the Thunder Punch. Just going to trust in Alolan Raichu to win this game. Back in comes the Raichu. In the back, it's Malamar, and this is looking a bit tough. Raichu committing the shield. Malamar so fast with Psycho Cut and foul play. Farming up with the Raichu, full sending the Wild Charge here. Opponent has a tough decision to make. Do they shield? They do not! They get KO'd! And now we just have the battle of Alolan Raichu, able to make it to the back-to-back Thunder Punches here and get the Volt Switch through. Opponent goes for the Thunder Punch, and the Volt Switch gets the win. As you can see, they're claiming the 5-0 and climbing to expert rank, and we do have one more set after this as well. The second set starts off with a tough lead, leading Alolan Raichu into Malamar. Going to stay in with the Raichu like last time. Raichu farming up, and Malamar able to strike first with a foul play. We see the immediate shield from the Alolan Raichu. Raichu farming up 2 more Volt Switches, and again full sending the Wild Charge here. We've seen before, this can get the KO, but the opponent will commit the shield, and now we see a safe switch into Galarian Rapidash. Rapidash answered with Galarian Slowbro. Rapidash going for the high horsepower. High horsepower will be shielded by the opponent. Opponent looking for the farm down here. They're going to get it, but not before Rapidash makes one final charge move. It's just a Body Slam, but the damage will add up, and now in comes Malamar. Malamar, kind of the tank of the team. Raichu and Rapidash are very glassy, but Malamar can really take hits. So Malamar just being used to soak damage here. Slowbro fires off the Sludge Bomb. That does a ton of damage, and now going to fire off the foul play. Basically just saving shield for the glassy sweeper that is Alolan Raichu. In comes the Raichu. In the back, it's Slowking farming up with the Raichu. Raichu will be hit with a Surf. Surf, not gonna KO. Raichu at the back-to-back wild charges here. Is this gonna be enough to one-shot the Slowking? The answer is yes, and all that's left in the back is the Malamar, and we already know Malamar is in wild charge range, and Alolan Raichu gets another win. We see a familiar lead in the next match, Alolan Raichu into Galarian Rapidash. Rapidash, of course, is going to be building up to the high horsepower. A lot of them do like to go for baits. We see the Raichu commit the shield, and it is the Body Slam bait. Farming up to the back-to-back Thunder Punches here, and Thunder Punch should be lethal from this range. It'll be very close, though. Firing off the back-to-back Thunder Punches, but we see a very nice catch onto Claydol. Claydol, of course, double resisting there, and now in comes Malamar. Malamar farming up and firing off the foul play. Even though the Thunder Punch landed, it was double resisted. It does such little damage that Malamar will still need 2 charge moves if it wants to get rid of the Claydol. Claydol firing off the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does quite a lot of damage, farming up with the Malamar to the back-to-back foul plays. This way, Malamar gets to leave with energy to threaten whatever the opponent decides to send in. Foul play will get the KO. Opponent, whatever they bring in, it's being hit with a foul play. They bring in the Rapidash, and Rapidash wins CMP. Very nice energy management there by the opponent. And now we have the battle of Rapidash. Farming up, tried to go for the Body Slam. Looked like he may have got the one-turn bring in there. That's the Mega Horn. That does massive damage. Firing off the Body Slam. Body Slam will get the KO. What does the opponent have in the back? They have their own Malamar, and that's game over. And speaking of Malamar, that's what Alolan Raichu runs into on the lead in the next match. We've seen how they like to play this out. Shielding the foul play, farming up 2 Volt Switches, and then firing off the Wild Charge. As Wild Charge, after those Volt Switches land, should be enough to KO the Malamar here. Going for the Wild Charge, this guarantees Switch or a Shield. Opponent will commit the Shield. Now we see a pivot into the Rapidash, and Rapidash is able to bait out the Slowking. Slowking going to be hit with the high horsepower unless they give up the final Shield. High horsepower connects, nearly one-shotting. The Slowking barely able to hang on. Slowking firing off the Shadow Ball, and Rapidash will commit the Shield and get the Fairy Wind farm down. Rapidash still surprisingly healthy for having gone up against the Poison type. Opponent sends in the Malamar. Malamar will be hit with a Body Slam. Body Slam into the Malamar, not going to KO, but does some solid damage. Opponent accidentally overfarms too much and plays to the CMP tie. Body Slam will grab the shield, and now this is looking very good. As Raichu, Electric isn't resisted by much in this meta. It's Rapidash in the back, and this is game over. This Wild Charge, Galarian Rapidash hits very hard, but it is very glassy, and we see the catch onto the Malamar. Oh my goodness, beautifully done. In comes the opponent's Malamar, but they will concede the match as the foul play is reached. We move into a new match, but we see the same leads Alolan Raichu into Malamar. And that's something that we're seeing is the Psychic Cup at high elo is a very condensed meta. You're seeing the same Pokemon over and over again, but how that can actually be an advantage is it allows you to develop really specific strategies. Like this trainer plays out the Malamar lead the exact same way every single time. Shield once, Wild Charge, you either get the KO or you get a shield, and then save switch into the Rapidash. If the Rapidash is answered by one of the Slow Brothers, you can throw a high horsepower and either basically one-shot or grab a shield. And with these game plans, it can allow you to really do well, even if you're seeing the same teams again and again and again, because you always have a game plan. And now, as always, sending in the Malamar, which is the bulky Mon on the team to absorb all the energy from the Slowbro, and saving the shield for the glassy sweeper that is Raichu. They go for another charge move. It's going to be the Surf. Immediate foul play is going to be thrown, denying any extra energy from the Slowbro. Foul play will get the KO, spamming the switch button, looking to send back in Alolan Raichu. Alolan Raichu up a shield is just so deadly in this format. In comes the Raichu, met with the foul play from the Malamar. Malamar, of course, very, very deadly. So Alolan Raichu is going to fire off the Wild Charge, making sure they don't switch. And Wild Charge will get the KO. In the back, it's Galarian Slowking. Slowking farming up, and Slowking will be hit with the Wild Charge here. That appeared to be the CMP tie, and it is. That is absolutely massive. But the Slowking is now only 3 hexes away from the next Surf. This is going to be close. Malamar looking to make it to the move, and Psycho cuts down the Galarian Slowking. Hopping to the final match, leading Alolan Raichu into Galarian Slowbro. Seeing Slowbro on the lead instead of in back, the opponent tries to go for a CMP tie, and by not getting it, they've just given Alolan Raichu an entire Volt Switch for free. A pretty massive mistake from the opponent right off the bat. Raichu has the back-to-back wild charges. First one connects, looking to immediately pivot. In comes Malamar, and Malamar will immediately be met with the Rapidash. Rapidash so spammy, firing off the body slam. We see the no shield from the Malamar. Farming up, going for the body slam, and winning CMP over the Malamar here. Malamar, do they commit a shield? Yes, they do. Wanting to save this energy, and you just let the Rapidash go. Exactly. Rapidash will get one shot by a Hyper Beam from the Malamar, but honestly, that's okay. Just save the shield for Raichu as the sweeper. In comes the Raichu. It's Bruxish, able to make the back-to-back Thunder Punches, but the Bite sneaking might have KO'd. Thunder Punch gets the shield. Oh, the Bite KO'd. That is really unfortunate here. Going for the foul play. Unfortunately, Bruxish makes a move. No shielding in case it's a Psychic Fangs. It is going to be the Aqua Tail, and it is the CMP tie. This foul play will massively KO this Bruxish. Bruxish is very glassy, and now it's the battle of Malamar in the back, losing CMP, but with a shield remaining, this will be a win. Shielding up the opponent's foul play, but the opponent already used both their shields, thanks to how powerful Alolan Raichu is at grabbing shields from opponents, going to secure the 4-1, and as you're going to see here, claiming the ELO and getting to 28-15 ELO, which at this point of recording is probably top 5 in the world. All in all, this was some extremely interesting gameplay, and it really goes to show that Alolan Raichu is just a menace in this meta. Basically, only Claydol is the only thing in this meta that's comfortable tanking a Wild Charge, so Raichu, especially if you're able to dance it in and out, fire off Wild Charge, reset the debuff by switching, Alolan Raichu is just incredibly deadly, and most opponents reach a point in the game where there's just too many Wild Charges and they don't have enough shields. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.